Hi, my name is Patrick Bartmus, and this is a series on being a caregiver for a parent. I have noticed a tendency among caregivers, both professional and family, to hold on to polite manners far beyond the time that they're needed. It's sweet, and I would much rather see someone going out of their way to be polite and respectful to my mother than to see someone being offhand and condescending. However, being polite sometimes works against our intentions. I'll give two examples. First, when it's appropriate to be polite. It is very important to move slowly and talk a lot about what you're doing when you're assisting a person who has dementia. This is because, in general, dementia slows down the processing speed of the brain. And I've watched my mom become quite alarmed when a caregiver is darting around, fixing this and that, or trying to get her to move so that they can just get what they want done quickly. And when she becomes alarmed, she becomes resistant and won't cooperate with the caregiver. It's much better in that instance to look her in the eye and ask politely, "May I help you get your shoes on?" And wait. Or, "Here's a chair. Would you like to sit down for dinner?" And wait. It's wrong just to plop her down in the seat and swivel the chair around and swipe her into the table just because you have other things you need to do and you need to get her situated correctly. I've seen that happen, and it rarely produces the desired effect. However, there is one vestige of polite society that doesn't need to persist. However, there is one vestige of polite society that doesn't need to persist when communicating with a person who has dementia. Normally, it's considered rude to just get up and leave the room without saying something like, "Well, I should be going now." Additionally, it would seem logical, based on what I just said, that it would be even more important to prepare a person who has dementia for your departure so that they can get used to the idea or prepare themselves emotionally to say goodbye. Based on my experience and observations, that is simply not the case. When my mom was living at home, we spent a lot of time in the sunroom, listening to music, watching TV, napping, reading. And when I would get up to make a pot of tea or go to the restroom, if I made a big deal about it, she would want to come with me. And there's nothing wrong with that, except it just indicated that she didn't want to be alone. And there were times when I just popped out to get some hot water and I could hear her getting restless and asking for somebody. She would say, "Hello, hello," and it's just disturbing. So I made a special effort to devise ways of exiting without indicating that I was going to leave. I usually returned before she became anxious, so my little strategies seemed to work most of the time. And these little strategies are idiosyncratic to our relationship, so I can't list them for someone else to follow. It's the transitions are very difficult to handle, so I worked hard to make them smooth or invisible. When I started hiring caregivers and therapists to come into the house to work with her, I noticed that the visits went well until it was time to leave. When the session was over, they would want to shake my mom's hand, tell her how much they enjoyed visiting with her, and they'd be back next week. But my mom just became confused and worried by all this. And it frequently took a while for me to calm her down. In fact, sometimes she'd want to leave with them, and I had to follow her out and then go for a walk. It just, I think it made her feel like everyone was leaving. And the same thing happened when I hired caregivers to take over for me if I needed to go shopping, because Mom couldn't go to the grocery store anymore. She couldn't handle it. So I made a point of slipping away while they distracted her, and I indicated that that's what we should do when it came time for them to leave. But some of the newer ones, it was sweet, but they wanted to give her a hug and tell her how much they enjoyed being with her, and it just made her anxious and sad. I think when you're losing your memory, you're constantly feeling loss without knowing why. When someone says goodbye, it feels like they're saying, I'm leaving you forever. Now, I don't want to be the source of that feeling. When I am visiting with my mom and we're interacting and it's time for me to leave, I just pat her on the shoulder or on the knee. I look over off to the side and I say, I'll be right back. It's kind of a lie, but on a deeper level, it's the truth. I will be back. That's what I want her to know. I want her to know that she is loved and cared for. And even if I have to step out for a moment, I will be nearby. Thanks for watching.